Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my game engine, and we are also going to be doing the key manager. Now I want to make this key manager a lot different than my previous key managers in my previous games because this is for a game engine, and also this is for a public game engine, so people should be able to, it's hard to explain. Let me just show you. So, if I open up Rebound, for example, and I just go over to my key manager over here, you can see that what I've done is I have a public final boolean array, and then I have all these static booleans that represents each key, but then I have to initialize each key, and then I just check the key event and the key code with the array, and if it turns out to be true, then that means that the key's been pressed. However, I don't want to have to add every single key to the keyboard, so I'm going to do things a little bit differently, and I haven't quite figured out how to do that. Okay, so before we start that, what I do want to talk about is I did add my project to GitHub. You can see it up here, and I was just testing out the merging and stuff with my other computer because I will be going to Costa Rica in 9 days. We leave on the 10th. So yeah, 9 days. Not counting this one, and I'm not going to be able to code it on my computer. However, I will be able to code it on my laptop. However, I want it to be a very efficient way of transferring data. Basically, I want it to be able to share between these two computers, my laptop and my computer, very easily. And I also don't want it to be glitchy, so I set it up with my laptop. So now if I just, for example, let's go into the key, or I'm going to first update my project on the laptop, and then I'm going to go into input package, key manager, and up at the top, I'm just going to say, this is a test merge, and then I'm just going to commit this, and I'll add the comment test merge. I'm going to commit this and push it to the origin, and then in a second, once this is done pushing, okay, once this is fully pushed, once this is pushed to the origin, I can just go up here to the Git and update the project, merge incoming changes correct, press OK, and you can see that the test merge is up here. I can delete this, and then of course commit this. I can say remove test merge, and then commit and push this. And once that's pushed and everything, I can go over to my laptop, which is running low on battery, and I can just update the project. And it's gone. I know you can't see it, but what are you gonna do? It's my laptop. So, let's work on this key manager. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it, and I will have to take a lunch break. However, I do want to get started. I do want to mention the few things I have done. So I finished up the scene manager, which I have documented pretty much everything, and I'll get to the stuff in the terminal or console in a second. So I've got all these, this documentation here. I got some here, and actually I'm just going to add this. So I'm going to say optional at override method for adding UI objects. Invoked. Okay, no. If this method is added to the scene, then it will be invoked. In other words, called automatically. Sorry, I had to pause the recording, but let me just show you what I did. If I go over here to the scene manager, and you can see all the files I did changing to. I just added this add UI objects. I forgot to add that from before, and then in the scene, I just made this initialization method. That initialization method is optional, so Like, it's not required like the tick and render method, because obviously a scene's going to have to tick and render, but the initialization, there doesn't have to be initialization sequence. Same thing with the awake. The awake is always called when the scene is first created, though. And then I might add UI objects, which is also optional, and if it does, it's going to do that. So if I go over to my sample scene, and let's just delete this, and you can see that if I go over here, and I do add UI objects, it's going to say super dot add UI objects, so you're going to want to write code here, and you can always remove this, but super dot add UI objects is basically just calling this line, and whoops, and so I'm going to add a comment that states when this is called, so I'm going to say when you import this, when you implement this method into your scene, it will automatically add the statement or the argument super dot add UI objects, which just calls the print method written below. However, the creator can always remove that super method if he or she, gotta be PC, does not want it there. That super argument. And then we can just go down to the sample scene, and you can see, yeah. So we don't actually need this, so let's do that. That's not going to be one of the default ones, but the default one will be the initialization. So let's just, before I forget, commit and push everything. Let's just do altered, so sample scene removed. Okay, let's do, okay, wait, let's actually look at the changes, which it's really cool because I can see them. If I just click that, so as you can see, I have no clue what I'm looking at. 1 second. Okay. So the green part is what I deleted, right? So, right, samples. Yes. So, removed add UI objects from sample scene. And then I just abstract scene. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so it doesn't look like we're gonna have time for a key manager, unfortunately, just because I need to go to lunch soon. But anyways, abstract scene now has a print method that print statement that printing the thread /info that UI objects have been added, and that is horrible English and horrible grammar and does not make any sense, but I don't care. And then what else did we do? We have the sample scene class. What about the actual Java file? Okay, so we just altered some, so removed unnecessary imports, And then we did some, so this is the previous and this is the after result. So we added the UI objects, okay, or removed it, okay. And then we, in the scene, we did a lot, or I did a lot. So the abstract scene makes init method optional and not abstract. What else? And then it was just the add UI objects, right? Scene. Yeah. Updated documentation. That's all. And that's it. So let's commit and push that. It's pushing. You can see I have the Mario running across the screen. Go back to the project. And oh, if you're curious, you see the logo prints there, but then I have this logo that I made this morning printing. It's not that good of a logo, but it says Engine B. The E is on its side, and the I is also on its side. However, the I is so you know the dot above the I, that makes up the top of the I. That is the inside of the G. That's the red dot, and then you know the rest of the I, which is the line, is the red line cross. Which I don't know. Thought it was a cool design. I know it looks pretty stupid, but whatever. So we have that, and now let's actually see if we can do anything on the key manager. So we have key types, key pressed, key release. I'm gonna have to plan this later. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this, but let's start by making some static methods, simply because we're gonna want to access these the key typed and released on everything. So let's just make some public static boolean. Just say key press, or on key press, public static boolean on key release, and then we can just pass in the key E. I'll just pass in E for event. Same thing for this, key event E, and we're gonna need one more method, which is public static boolean on key held, and say key event E. So we're going to specify the key events through the parameters, and then we're going to check whether it's being pressed, released, and held. So this is going to be static, of course, and this here is where it's going to be detected whether a key is pressed, released, etc. And we're just going to have a couple of booleans, public, or it's going to be private static boolean key pressed. Oh wait, no, that's not gonna work. Okay. So key typed word. Key pressed words. You know what? So I think we're gonna have a private static key event called pressed key. Set that to null for now. And we're gonna have a private static key event called released key. Set that to null. Private static key event held key equals to null. So these are going to store which keys are currently being pressed, released, etc. Except this one's going to be a little tricky. Key held, because there's going to be so we're going to check on key held. How does Unity do it? I have no idea how they do it. Okay, this might not work. Okay, yeah, that's not going to work. Okay, so So we're gonna say, you know what? I'll do this later. I'll plan it out before I record the session, and then yeah. So I need to upload this video, and then I'm just going to go and have lunch because it's 2:13. I haven't had lunch yet. Um. However, it's been fun. So yeah, I'm really loving this project, like a lot, like more than all of my other projects so far. My Arduino stuff, and like it's just been a lot of fun, and I haven't gotten bored yet, which I'm very happy with. I think the main part with the Arduino is that it's very time consuming, and then there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and even when they do go wrong, uh, do go badly. Is that what's the correct word? When the projects do go wrong, there is an extremely high chance that the components are fried, and then I go broke because I don't have enough money to buy new components. That was the main thing about that. I just couldn't afford the hobby. And every hobby is gonna have some sort of cost. However, coding, just pure coding, like it's free, right? I mean, I need a computer obviously, but I have my MacBook from school, and if only if I didn't have my computer, I'd be using my MacBook from school, but I do have my computer, and other than the computer, which was a Christmas gift, like everything is free for coding. I just write the code myself. I make everything myself. I don't have to make an Arduino board because Arduino stuff. That's like you're not really making anything. You're just connecting a bunch of components to kind of just to well yeah you're creating like a pattern of components that does something specific. But yeah, and then the game I like looking back, I'm realizing I didn't really like making games. I actually hated that part. What I liked was making the game engine and organizing stuff so that, yeah, I could use tools. So I liked making tools, basically. Um, that helped me, and ultimately this one's gonna help beginners. So thank you guys for watching. It's been a short one, but yeah, bye.